right, here's level 2. Now, here's the difference between level 1 and level 2. Remember that the coefficients have to be opposites, okay? The coefficients have to be opposites. If you notice, look, if I were to add these equations, neither of these, the x or the y, would cancel because I don't have any coefficients that are opposites. So in level 2, one equation must be multiplied first in order to make the coefficients opposites. Okay, let's take a look what that looks like. Over here, here's what I notice. For the x's, I have 3x and I have negative 5x. Those are not opposites, right? One is positive, one is negative, but the opposite of 3 is negative 3, and the opposite of 5 is the opposite of negative 5 is 5. So I don't have opposites here. Here I have positive 2 and negative 1. I also don't have opposites there. What I notice though about the y's is I think to myself, this is a 2. And if only this was a negative 2, they would be opposites. And I think to myself, I can make negative 1 into negative 2 just by multiplying by 2. So that's what I'm going to do. But I can't just multiply one piece of an equation by 2. That's not allowed. This idea kind of goes with I do the same thing to both sides. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply this whole equation by 2. I'm multiplying this side by 2 and I'm multiplying this side by 2. So that way it'll still be a true equation. It'll still be equal. So watch what I'm doing. I'm multiplying the whole equation by 2. So it kind of looks like the distributive property, right? I'm multiplying this, I'm multiplying this, I'm multiplying this. Okay, and just follow along with me and see what I end up with. 2 times negative 5 is negative 10, so this is negative 10x. 2 times negative 1y is negative 2y. And 2 times negative 15 is negative 30. Now, see this other equation? I'm not going to multiply that one. Why? Because look, I already have a 2y here, and I have a negative 2y here, and that's what I want. Remember, I want the coefficients to be opposites. So I'm just going to take this equation, I'm going to copy it down beneath. And notice what I'm doing is I'm lining up the like terms. I lined up the x's and the y's and the constants. And now I'm ready to add them. And watch what happens when I add them. Negative 2 plus 2, gone. Negative 10 plus 3, that's negative 7x. And this is negative 21. Now, if I want x by itself, I'm going to divide by negative 7 because x is being multiplied by negative 7. And I get x equals 3. Now, what do? I have my x value, right? And just like always, I only have half my answer. I have an x value. I need to plug back in and find the y value. I'm going to plug into this equation. That one looks a little bit more friendly, right? So I'm plugging in. Notice I'm plugging this in for x. I notice that this is an x value. Let's say I had gotten the y value first. I would plug it in for y, so you got to pay attention. This becomes 9 plus 2y equals 9. When I subtract 9 from both sides, I actually get 2y equals 0. And so what I'm doing here when I solve is I'm dividing by 2, and I get that y equals 0. Right? And then let's check in our heads, right? My x value is 3, my y value is 0. So negative 5 times 3 is negative 15, and then minus 0. Negative 15 minus 0 is just negative 15. Yep, looks good. Let's look at another one. Over here, I'm looking for what can I multiply by to make one of these equations have a coefficient opposite to the other equation. Okay, and over here I noticed I was aiming to get the y's to be opposites. Notice like the x's weren't a good option here, right? Like if I had multiplied 3 by 2, I would have gotten positive 6, not positive 5, so like that wouldn't have worked. So the x's weren't a great option here. Over here, the y's were the better option. When I look over here, I think to myself, well, can I multiply 2 by something to get 5? No, it would be a decimal. Let's not do that. But I do notice that these are both 3's. But the thing is, I don't want them both to be positive 3, right? I need them to be opposite. So if one of them is positive 3, the other one should be negative 3. So what can I multiply an equation by to make it negative? So I'm going to take this equation. I'm going to say, look, you know what? This equation is positive 3. I'm going to make this top equation negative 3. What do I need to multiply this by in order to make it negative 3? I'm going to multiply by negative 1. Right? Negative 1 times 3 is negative 3. So negative 1 times 3 is negative 3x. Negative 1 times 2 is negative 2. That's negative 2y. And here, look, I have a negative times a negative. That's a positive. I have positive 13. Okay? So now, I have, in this equation, I have a negative 3x. In this equation, I have a positive 3x. So I'm ready to stack them up and see what I get. So here, when I add negative 3 plus 3, cancels. This is negative 2 plus 5. That's the same as 5 minus 2. That's 3y. Add these up, I get 21. Okay, notice this time I'm solving for y first. That's okay, I can solve in any order. It's just a matter of, in this case, it happened to be easier to get the x to eliminate and leave me with the y. And I get y equals 7. And let's go back and find the x. So I'm going to plug into this bottom equation. I actually just made a mistake. You can see I've paused my video and I've erased what I did. If you can see my mistake, that would be awesome, right? Here's where the mistake is. See this? This says y equals 7. Look where I plugged that 7 in. Oh boy, it doesn't go there. This is a y value. So what I should have is 3x plus 5, and instead of y, that's where I'm writing my 7. Okay? And the reason that I left the mistake in the video is because this is a super common mistake, and you might find yourself making the mistake too. So if you find it, you get to, like, what happened is I got here and I was like, oh man, this is going to be a decimal. And I realized that's where my mistake was. Okay? So look, this becomes 5 times 7. Okay, now I'm going to subtract 35 from both sides. I get 3x equals negative 27. And when I divide by 3, I get x equals negative 9. So my answer is negative 9, comma 7. Okay, and I can just quickly check, right? This would be, I would check it like this. 3 times x plus 2 times y equals negative 13. And you could even use your calculator for this, right? This would be negative 27 plus 14 equals negative 13. And that's true.